Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join us in the beautiful landscape of Scotland. Today we're joined by Highlander 87 and today we're out for a fun wee adventure exploring a piece of Angus here. It's actually Boxing Day for us here, so we're just kind of out for a walk, stretch the legs and have a bit of fun along the way. Document some history, starting here with the old water wheel at Dun, and we're basically away to head in to the what's it called, the Montrose Basin kind of nature reserve, where there is some cool historical wonders hidden, like an old railway which led through here from, I believe it went to Dun Station and then on towards Montrose the other direction. So yeah, today's adventure, we're just away to head in. It is actually raining now, but you know how it is on this channel, we're out all conditions, all weathers, having these adventures. So yeah, let's get into the action folks. So check this out here folks, we've just come down this little path. I'm basically parked at the opposite side of the road there where you saw the water wheel a minute ago, and the path that we're taking is across here, and this leads on to like a farm track that goes all the way out to the basin. And yeah, last time I walked here I think it was like summertime and everything was proper overgrown, but I think it's been years since I ever even did a video in this location, so it's so cool to come out and have an adventure, document history and see how it might have changed over the years. So check it out folks, this is the old abandoned railway line which leads to Bridge of Dun, and there must have been an old kind of crossing there at one time. Look, there's one of the metal pieces that the rail would have been mounted on top of. Check it out folks, abandoned railway history of Great Britain. Just think in the 1800s this would have been like a thriving railway. Every day the trains would have been going up and down. Yeah, the old metal pole there, typical of what we see at the Scottish railways. And now we're away to basically head down here. This is the old rail line, so it's cool to walk here and imagine the history, and we'll see if there's any little abandoned features along the side. Look at this folks, the first historical wonder here. There's this old railway bridge. It must be a drain or something going under, or would it have been a field gate at one time? Yeah, look at it, look at the big chunks of metal it was built out of. Yeah, it must have been field access originally. It's just like no man's land under there. It's a cool wee wild camping spot. In the summer though, all this becomes so overgrown. I think the horses do kick about in this bit of land in the summer, whereas at this time of year they're further up at the farm. Look, there's almost like something up there as well. Yeah, we're just keeping our eyes peeled for history we had never seen, and this little bridge was the first thing we'd come across. This is similar to the railway bridges that we documented in New Tile a few years ago. You can see the same construction often on the British railways. So we've now pushed on further and the path has narrowed folks, it's more overgrown. But I think the ancient historical wonder isn't far ahead. So it's pretty cool. It's always amazing going a path you've never been before. You just never know what's round the corner. But it looks like this is a path that is commonly walked. You can hear that pylon thing making buzzing noises. Look at this folks, this part here is wild and overgrown, and this is often what happens to the British railways once they're abandoned for many years. Look, you can still see the original hardcore. This whole area here has been built up and levelled. The amount of work that was done back in the day for the creation of these railways, it's such a waste in the end that they got abandoned. All the groundwork was there, the hard labour was done, and this is just basically a remnants of all that. The whole way along here, it's probably a good like 8 foot off the lower land level, and because it was such boggy wetlands, credit to them for how they managed to build it in the first place. Look at this here folks, we've made it along as far as this ancient historical wonder, and this would have been like a little maintenance kind of building at the side of the old railway back in the day, and it's actually in pretty decent condition. And the brickwork isn't that eroded, maybe protected by these bushes. Yeah, it was the summertime last time I came. Oh, it would have had an old stove in there. There's been other ones that we saw at like Glams and stuff back in the day on the old railway, and they still had a wee fireplace. Wow, look how overgrown this entranceway is. Like I say, it's been years since I came here, and to see it again, I had forgotten how it looked. Look at that, there is actually slates and stuff on the roof. Because from this side, it looked like a different building. I was sure it had a slate roof, but it's just the angle I was seeing it. Look how overgrown this entranceway is, folks. Check it out, folks, this is inside the old railway siding building. And I think they would have come in here maybe on the winter's days, if they were maintaining the railway. They would have come in here probably and like had their piece or whatever, had their cuppy. Look at this, the wee remains of where the stove had been. Think of the people chucking in the bits of wood, the smoke going up out the chimney, and they maybe had to dry their clothes here at every opportunity. You often get an essence of that when you're like out in the rain. And it gives you an idea of how they would have been out in the rain in the same areas, like working. And just look at the condition of it. It's cool to document things like this before they are gone forever. The old wooden door. Check it out, I'll get the torch on for this one, folks. Look, there's actually woodworm and stuff in there. The door lock and handle's gone, but sometimes things like that were actually taken and used on like farm sheds and farms over the years, or anywhere. Kind of often the essential things were stripped out and reused. Look at that, an old board up there, maybe mounting some piece of equipment. And then up here, look, there's been some apparatus as well stored. Because I visit so many like abandoned places and historical locations, it always blows my mind to see them and to imagine the people that originally they were built for. You forget the details because it's so long between visits. It's like there's been maybe a roof on the inside as well, like it's totally sagging. One day this will all just fall in and the history will be forgotten. When you see the condition of it now, look, there's remains here, maybe there's been benches or whatever down at that height. They maybe sat on the bench and this was their wee table. That's what it looks like, because there's the other bench leg support. And that is the height of a table. Yeah, that's so cool to see it. Imagine the fire crackling where nowadays the water's literally dripping down through the structure. Yeah, wow, that's just so cool. There might have been another little table over there or a chair. These are all the height for having a wee bench. So I think that's exactly what that's been. And I think that's what these buildings were for. Look, there's been a wee fold-out table here. It's been what in Scotland you would call a peace room. It's a room you would go and have a sandwich and maybe a cup of tea. You would get the flask cracked open on a cold winter's day. Maybe a flask of soup. And imagine the sound of the steam trains hurtling up and down this line. Passenger trains as well as industrial trains carting many goods up and down the country from station to station. Maybe from fishing ports and stuff getting transferred down further down country. It's cool to just imagine every aspect of the history of a wee building like this. And it almost brings it to life when you think of the original occupants. So let's head on away from this magical historical wonder here in the land. Look, it's like the door's been shot with a rifle or whatever, a wee air rifle. There's a few different holes in it. Or maybe some kind of pellet gun. It's probably been the hangout area for like the local farmer or whatever at a certain time. And there's old wall lines and stuff leading around. And we're literally on the shores of the Montrose Basin here. The town of Montrose is over at the far side. And you can see it's excellent grazing lands for all these sheep. Just look at the character of that, folks. Abandoned history of Scotland at its finest. And it is amazing the different level of decay of these places over the years. Look at the old air vents and stuff. And just think at one time with the smoke coming out of the chimney there. Think of the crack for the folk maybe that was working on the railway. Wow, there's the wee chimney and stuff. I'm just recording it for all angles because look, it is cracked, and I noticed the walls and stuff inside look like they are starting to deteriorate with the water coming through. Check it out, folks, we're now making our way along the corner of this kind of piece of land. Look at the old wall line. Check this bit out. Wonder what this has even been. This is interesting. You can hear the flow of the water here. Oh look, the water actually comes underneath the railway there, and that's a history. That's a detail of the history there, folks. Another part of them constructing such a magnificent railway. Ken, they had literally had to put all the streams below in little tunnels. And look how that wall and stuff's starting to fall down. It's maybe been the old boundary line to like a local farm or whatever originally. But I think nowadays obviously the boundary's right over. This is a nature reserve, but obviously it's perfect for farming in between. These fields are pretty good because the land around here is properly drained with massive ditches. Check it out, folks. From here now you can hardly see the wee building over there, but it's got so much character. I love the colour of the red brick. Those old railway buildings, how they just stand in the land. It's almost like a scar of the history, a skeleton. Now we're kind of heading over towards this bird hut direction and over towards the shores of the Montrose Basin. Yeah, I think this is one of these massive ditches in the land. You would not be able to cross that. If you were trying to jump over it, it would be lethal. You would get into a lot of bother. Wow, it's full of like that grassy, silty stuff. What a crazy bit of land, folks. I always just take the viewers along on these adventures with us. We never actually know exactly where we're away to be walking or what we're doing, but we've just got a general idea. And that's sometimes when you hear the coolest adventures. Check it out, folks. We've made it over to this little bird hide here at the edge of the Montrose Basin. And look at it. It's the most grand of bird hides in Angus. It's got like an upstairs. You have to go up the stairs there to get in it, so it's quite impressive. Wow, there's a whole tree, probably floated in. The North Sea is out there through that gap. You can see all the boats at Montrose and stuff, but probably on the GoPro it doesn't come out too well. When the tide's in, obviously that area totally floods. Even now, look at that, it's a network of waterways and things like that. Check it out, folks, we're going for a look into the bird hide. It's well maintained, like the way lights is on and stuff at this time of year, because it's quite dark in Scotland. And it is really well constructed. I mind one time in the summer coming around here and there was like a wasp's hive underneath it, and it was the scariest thing because they were all inside this place. They were coming in through the gaps. And just think now we're just up above the basin here looking over. Check how much rain stuck to the glass at this side. Wow, what a place. You can actually open these windows up. Kind of if you've got the binos and you're trying to see some birds. Check it out, look at the view we've got, folks.
It says there's a dike somewhere.
Is this the dike though, this ridge in the land? That's maybe what they're calling the dike.
No, it's in the middle of the basin.
Oh right. Highlander says there's meant to be a dike in the middle of the basin. Let's go and have a look. I'll close up this window. Oh, I look. Droner's Dyke, folks.
Oh, that's it there, I think.
Alright, sorry about that there, folks. Good job, Highlanders here. I'll get the torch on so we can actually see that. Aye, right in the middle there. But see the interesting thing, this was apparently created by a tsunami that came in from the North Sea back in the day. It seemingly washed out a great screeve of land here. So maybe that was an old ridge in the former land. Yeah, there's a wild, what's that, fowl sanctuary? Wild fowling area. And look, the river South Esk technically comes right down through here, but obviously it's under the level of the waters. Some of the other animals that you can see kicking about is owls, and literally at this time of year I see a lot of owls. If you're driving in the evening or at night, the owls fly off the roadside fence posts and you have to watch out for them, because I think they can't see the best. Check it out, let's have a look at this scene, folks. Is this scene not going to open? Let's not have a look at this scene, folks. Let's move along. I should have had the binos so we could really see the animals. I could have recorded through the binocular, and I did get a pair of binoculars from AKR a few years ago. Look, there's something actually in the water way over there, a black thing. Wow, look, there's like ridges in the land leading out. It is interesting to think, or like theorise as to that tsunami coming all the way in and washing that out. Because the original river, South Esk, obviously came in away up to the right and then flowed down through the land. But it is just like sediment and silt, and if you walked in there you'd be like underneath the level, probably like quicksand. And I think when the tide comes in, the water comes right up to the higher level. So it's a dangerous kind of bit. Obviously on rare occasions the water probably comes right in to the front of this hide here. And there's so much little birds kicking about, probably eating sandworms or whatever they've got on the go. There's probably snails and all kinds of things out there. Wow, this is such a cool place. Shout out whoever built this, RSPB or whatever it is. It's the kind of place you could come more often with binoculars and literally see what is kicking about out there. Because some days, certain times of years, there's like geese and stuff just fleeing about. Thousands of them. And
It almost looks like there's been some beauty
aye, recently walking about.
there. See all the footprints
Oh, aye.
over in the sand by the tree.
Yeah, yeah.
Could just be the animals.
Maybe those trees, there's like 2 trees, is there?
Aye.
Just think those trees were literally floating about on the water, and it shows the water was probably higher recently. I mean, we had those high tides. What a spot though, folks. And I think from here you can see the building we were at earlier on in this adventure. It's like over that direction. Oh yeah, the conditions are mad. And it is rainy today, but like I say, we're always out just having a wee bit of fun and exploring these wee corners of Angus. You could probably get one of those bird watching books and then like sit here and pick off some animals, because according to these signs there's a fair number of different birds that kick about here. And yeah, the Scottish wildlife is always thriving, and it's cool to come to places like this, see what's been done for people to come and view the wildlife. And see, those lights are on sensors, because they just came on when I came down there. Look, even here, you could open this window up and have a look over. Yeah, and even if you were here, you could look at the sheep and stuff like that. It's a sheep viewing platform, folks. Certain times of year, you also get cows in the fields here, so you have to watch out for that. If you're walking dogs or anything, you have to watch out for the animals. There we go, folks. It's called the Widgeon Hide. So let's keep this adventure moving, folks. Let's head out over here and have a wee look around. See how deep these ditches are. I think it'll be pretty wild, like further over here. Watch this, that's so slippy. Look, there is fresh footsteps, so there has been folk over here. Wow, what an area, look at this, eh? It's like coming to another planet sometimes. Absolute mad. The hills are just disappearing into the clouds because the clouds are so low today with this wet environment. And it's quite mild for the time of year, but it's perfect exploring conditions. And just check out that little bird hide from this angle. Look at this, folks, we're right out at the shores here of Montrose Basin, and you can actually see the footprints of some of the wildlife that kicks about. Some of the seabirds, but it looks like there's been a human walking over here as well. Maybe when the tide was further out, this was actually drier and more firm. But yeah, we just came out to the edge. Look, there's poles or something chapped in. Yeah, maybe somebody coming over here to walk their dog. I'm going to go around the edge of this super wet area. But look, we've walked over as far as these trees, washed in potentially on a tide from the wild North Sea, which is about a mile out there. The interesting thing with this area, there is actually loads of shells. Look how many shells and stuff's kicking about. That must be the common kind of type of thing you find around here.
There's a bottle.
Oh, hey, look, an old bottle, folks. An abandoned historical wonder. Look, it's like a little biome in there with plants growing and stuff. I think it's one of the old lemonade bottles. There used to be the old lemonade lorries that kicked about in the day, and they brought fizzy drinks out to the countryside to places. Oh aye, there has been stuff out here at a certain time. Maybe gradually over the years this gets taken away.
I mean, look, can you get all the sticks in the net?
Yeah, I wonder if it's been fishing related.
Yeah.
They maybe put the nets out there and then the tide comes in and goes out and then they come along and collect the fish.
Yeah.
That's maybe what they do. It is interesting just to see it though. I'm always blown away in a piece of land that I've never laid foot before. There's something down there, look. What even is that, folks? Probably washed in on the sea. Check it out, folks. I thought from a distance it was a World War II mine, but it's just a plant pot. We're now heading back further around. That's the bird hide we were in, but I think there's another bird hide over this direction. So we're on a spontaneous kind of walk now. We don't even know, like, I don't think there's a path unless you go that way. So I think we're just heading down here and we'll find a way. But you do have to be aware of the tide coming in at this area so that you're not too close to the edge and get trapped. Because I think the water can come in these little streams kind of behind you. So look at them, they're dry at this tide level, but imagine falling in some of them. You never know how deep they are. Check it out, folks, we followed the piece of land all the way to the very top of the Montrose Basin, and look at this. This is the river South Esk flowing in here, and this obviously flows through the land of Angus as one of the main rivers, and it flows through Brecon and other such like towns underneath the famous Bridge of Dun, which is still closed, needing repaired. And it's just cool to come and see this area where the river South Esk does flow. What is it? Oh aye, there's a couple of mad like frames or something in the middle of the water over here, folks, and we're just wondering what they are. Yeah, I've never actually documented this piece of land here where the river South Esk comes in, and that's what makes this special as well in the video. Yeah, it looks so deep, and you can see the flow of the water, and it meanders in, and it looks like there's just more of that sediment and silt. And there's another wee river flows in over there. But this whole area, it's just breathtaking. At this time of year, no as many birds and wildlife. Look, that looks like a World War II dragon's tooth at the other side, but it's hard to say for here. It's maybe been a farming piece of debris. Oh, what an interesting sight this is, it's so cool. Check this out here, folks. Look at the way the land here has broken off and been washed away at a certain time from the river. And that's how we're staying super safe on this video. We've been just like dodging big bogs and crazy bits of land. Obviously I wouldn't advise anybody to walk out here, and we're obviously used to walking in situations like this from the hilltops there up in the glens. There's a lot of like streams and waterways like this you have to avoid, but sometimes they can be so deep if you fell in you'd be in a lot of trouble. And sometimes around here you can get areas that's like quicksand or reed beds where if you fall in they're like 10 foot deep. Look how deep this bog is. Yeah, it's underwashed. Yeah, there's some huge chunks, it's like freshly eroded. Check it out, folks, we've got a football for this adventure. Here, Highlander. See this, folks, this is what they really need to actually be planting along here on the earth. Bushes like this and shrubs to get the strength of the root, like the root structure, and then it strengthens the riverbanks here on the outside. But I think because there's a bird hide here, they obviously didn't want to cover the view from there with loads of shrubs, but it would do the landscape here the world of good. Yeah, look, there's a mad reed bed, folks, check that out. Probably if you fell in there, it's like a bog. Could be deep as anything. You can see the water down between them all. That's why it's a perfect like wildlife habitat out here. And every week on the channel it's something different. It's cool to explore these wee corners of Scotland that's like hardly seen. There's no many folk walk around this neck of the woods. Look at this, folks, we've made it further around the coast now, and we're at the area where the river flows around, and probably in storms the water comes right over here, but we're almost as far as the little bird hide. Looks like there's a wee ditch or a burn or something flowing underfoot here. Look, there's a pumpkin or something over there. Check it out, look at this, folks, we found an old Halloween decoration. An old pumpkin kicking about. Or maybe somebody's been out here having some pumpkin pie. That's the most random thing we've seen today at the edge of this waterway. Looks like the water's recently been at this height though, look at this. Maybe when the tide comes in. Ken, this is actually the sea level. And that could also be why it erodes so quickly around the edges. This is obviously a tidal estuary here. Check it out, folks, I just noticed there's an old barrel down here, and it looks like it's actually been underneath the level of the ground at a certain time and then it's been washed out. Yeah, look, there's an old pipe and stuff coming along here, an old drain pipe from an ancient time. And look, there is different layers of sediment and salt here. You can see that's been the surface at a certain time. And look, what has this even been? I think it looks to me like it's been under the ground. Yeah, look, it's full of concrete. It's maybe been an old drain or whatever, or an old marker for the drain originally out here on the moor. And over the years, obviously, the land kind of gets taken away from the water. And wow, I just thought I would come and have a closer look. I don't think there's been any like World War II defences in this particular area, but it's always worth coming down for a look. You can see how orange the ground is here, and I think it is just a high clay content. But it is interesting to see. A lot of the ground's obviously years of vegetation that's died and gotten compressed. Check it out, folks, we've come a little bit further along the coast here now, or the river bank, and this is actually the next bird watching hide here. So it looks out onto the flow of water coming in from the river South Esk direction. And yeah, it's a prime area here for bird watching. I think at the opposite side of the river, a lot of geese and stuff sit there. Or like even these fields at a certain time of year, they're just full of birds. So this hide is really well positioned on the land. So let's head in and have a wee look, see what we can see. Check it out, folks, here we are in the bird hide. It is a nice place to come. Look, there is, what are they, seagulls? See earlier on though, folks, I didn't have the camera on at that moment, but there was actually an owl flew across, a white owl, and it went away over to the bushes at the other side. Whereas these ones here are seagulls. So it's cool to come into a little place like this for a sit down on a mad walk like we've had, and to see the wildlife out the window. Today it's just a few seagulls, but certain times of year you could come around here and see some amazing species of birds and maybe other animals. There'll be foxes and all kinds of beasts roaming these wetlands, grasslands around here. Oyster catchers, swans, geese, widgeons, a little grebe, a golden eye, a red shank, a shell duck, a grey lag goose. So just think of that, folks. It's a mad mixture of different birds out here, and that's cool to see it. And then this side, the Montrose Basin that we documented with the abandoned history near it, telling the little story of the history, and then to see the bird hide and what's been done here for the nature reserve's pretty cool. Yeah, way over there. So yeah, it's mad, folks. Let's seal up this door as we make our way around. Keep the place fresh for the next visitors. And on with this adventure. You know how it is on the channel, folks. It's spontaneous the route we've come. I think there is a wee path, but we were coming kind of around the water's edge. So yeah, onwards. Check it out, folks. This is what a Scottish reed bed looks like here on the land. Look how many reeds there is and how boggy this whole area is. For probably a good couple of acres there. It's just a madness. You wouldn't be able to walk on that, and it's like 10 foot high. The plants would be growing up above your head. Check it out, folks, we're round the side of that reed bed and we were just saying this looks like it's man-made here, almost like they've built a dam. But look how deep it is at this side. Yeah, look at the bitty there. There's actually a huge chunk of cement down there, and look, there's a sluice. This is the kind of history that I love to see. And look, the water's actually flowing in this way from that side. That is incredible. I never knew this little bit here was even here, like in the land. And that obviously flows out through there, through that bit we thought was a reed bed. And look over there, the sun in the trees. Oh aye, that's that secondary waterway that was flowing into the river South Esk. And this must be the other side of that, look. Oh, look at the big pipe flowing in. All built with massive railway sleepers. Probably when these fields were made or whatever, they had to drain the lands to a certain order. I wonder what that is lying in there though. There's remains of an old piece of history here, folks. What is it? Check it out, folks. What is this over here? I'm not even sure what that's been. It's got a bit of rope on it. It's got a hole in the middle of it. It's almost like it's been a door, but it's got foam between it. So who even knows? It's like there's been loads of animals or something running up and down there. This is a mad bit of land. It almost looks like it's been a midden. That's what I was thinking originally, like an old dump for maybe like a local farm. Sometimes, years ago, that was what we had in the land here in Scotland. Each farm would have a bit of a midden. But I'm not actually seeing evidence of that now. Because I don't think that's from the era of a midden, that debris that we did see. Check it out, folks, look at this. It's another piece of history here in the same piece of forest sticking out. Aye, the old railway sleeper, like there's been some kind of walkway. You can hear the banging and you may think that's like shooting, but I think it's actually bird scarers to scare the birds from eating the seed in the fields. But it's super loud when those bangers go off. Yeah, look, there is evidence here, like old bottles or whatever.
Yeah. Tank under this.
Oh, look, folks, what is this? It could be an old, what would it be, a waterworks, like a sewage kind of bat.
Because that's well, isn't it?
Yeah. See, it's mad just the way things it's hidden. That's how this might look like a man-made mound, because it is. They're maybe controlling sewage or something flowing out into the sea, and this will soak away any sediment or it's like any cesspit.
It's like a filter, eh?
Yeah, and the reeds will probably filter it to the extreme level and clean it. But that's maybe been an old surround or an old gate. And like I say, you never know what's under your feet in Scotland. That's how we are so cautious with every step in these lands, because you can go down a hole. Imagine you landed down in one of those pits of water or whatever under the ground. Check this out, folks. Just before I end it, I thought we'll come in here, look at this little bridge. This is the main road that goes around towards the Dun station and the bridge at Dun. And just look at the cool little bridge here in the road. I love the little stonework, and you can see how this whole area has been built up originally. And I had never noticed that before. In the summer, areas like this are so overgrown, you can't even see the details like that. In the winter here, it's the perfect opportunity to like document it. And it's some cool stonework on the old bridges. Anyway, we're just about back to the car, so I'm going to end this one here. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll be back very soon with the next adventure, wherever we end up going.